Hello everyone and welcome to Ferrari Challenge at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli as we look at Eliseo Donno, who will be out for qualifying very, very shortly indeed, because we have got a green light on at the end of the pit lane, which means the drivers can be out on track at any time now for their 30-minute qualifying session. Eliseo Donno choosing to abide his time somewhat. We think that Eliseo Donno not only leading the Drivers' Championship points with a maximum haul from Valencia, the first round of Ferrari Challenge for 2023, but we also think celebrating his birthday today, a bit like my colleague. So Eliseo Donno P1 in Trofeo Pirelli, and in Trofeo Pirelli Am it is Franz Engstler who is leading the way. So 30 minutes qualifying to come from our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli drivers then. The mix of Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers. The Pirelli drivers have a red sun strip across the top of the windscreen. The Pirelli Am drivers have the white sun strip across the top of the windscreen, as we could see there from the Mohammed Hamdi car. Studying of the circuit going on with driver coach right now. You can see the map there in the driver's hands, and just talking about each and every corner and where to maximize everything. That from on board with David Gosner. We can see there, and all those drivers are going to be out on track momentarily to get this qualifying session underway. 30 minutes goes so very quickly. So Thomas Fleming, who I have to say, Nico, something of a star of the show in terms of his performance, and you know, young driver who's come virtually straight out of karting, and it's a big jump from a super racing go-kart into a super racing car, which is the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo car that Tom Fleming will propel around this Misano circuit, and he propelled it jolly well, in my opinion, in Valencia.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to punch a hole in his performance, however, it was qualifying, because in the race he was super quick, super entertaining, super racy. Part of that was because he didn't qualify nearly as high up as he did in terms of his race pace.
Sure.
So that's potentially one aspect that he will try to rectify, which for us would be very unfortunate because it means less overtaking, potentially. But certainly in his very best interest is to put the car as high up as possible in qualifying, and he'll set about doing that in just a few moments as we go into the Formula Racing garage. And we see the final parts of preparation by, I think, Kim Eriksson.
You're absolutely right. It was Kim who was just getting himself ready there. The Formula Racing organization headed up by Alan Jurgensen, of course. And there we can see David Gosner once again, who is looking very positive and poised and focused for his qualifying to come. The cars that we have out on track at the moment are James Owen, another new driver to the Ferrari Challenge, and acquitted himself very creditably in Valencia. Also out on track is Hanno Laskowski. We always know how quick Hanno can be, and we are looking at the number 10 car of Kim Eriksson now. It's a really vibrant green that Kim has chosen to adorn his 488 Challenge Evo. And someone has been waxing lyrical with the crayons, Nico. From the MP Racing team, I would suggest.
Yeah, looks like it. There is Eliseo Donno, not in his car yet, still very calm, and already a lot more active is Franz Engstler, our champion in Copper Shell last year, and off to a flying start in Valencia for Trofeo Pirelli Am.
Couldn't have been better, really, for Franz, could it? 2 out of 2 in Spain.
Absolutely.
Where it does rain, mainly in the plane.
Which is historically inaccurate, but a very nice linguistic sentence and statement. And there is Franz Engstler through the stadium section here at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, final turn onto the home straight, and that will put a first time onto our timing screen proper. It's a 1:42.836. Which is going to be bettered in just a few moments by, I guess, Franz Engstler in about 1 minute and 38 seconds. Check back with us when that time has elapsed. Hanno Laskowski also on our timing screen. The sun is out, and actually the weather this weekend very lovely, very nice.
Which wasn't the prediction. It wasn't the prediction. Actually, the weather forecast coming into this weekend, I was a bit disappointed with. However, upon arrival, as is so often the case, it is better than the anticipation and the forecast from the Meteorological Service in Great Britain.
Well, we'll see. I mean, going to Spa next weekend for the WEC, the weather forecast is quite decent right now, and I guess that trend will reverse in typical Spa fashion. Snow, hail, and sunshine all in the same hour, probably at the same time.
As we are qualifying here in Europe, of course, the Ferrari Challenge Europe. Our American friends are racing in the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. Over there this weekend as well, their second event of the season. So a big shout out to all my friends in the USA in the Ferrari Challenge North America season. And of course, we get the Ferrari Challenge UK season underway next weekend at Snetterton, where the weather conditions are probably altogether more likely to be Spa-like, I would suggest. And of course, we've already had events in the Ferrari Challenge Japan series as well. So let's get back to this qualifying, and Hanno Laskowski then, with purple sectors through Sector 1 and Sector 2. So this, as we predicted, the sort of second run, if you like, is going to be and give us more meaningful lap times for our qualifying session and for the grid. And here comes Hanno Laskowski then, and he does go P1 with a 1:38.867. And that's much more where we expect the cars to be, even better than that, to be honest. James Owen, another driver improving and improving better than Hanno Laskowski. He goes to the top of the chart at the moment with a 1:38.369 for James Owen, driving for Meridian Modena. Hanno Laskowski and Franz Engstler and Amin Arifpour then are the top four at the moment. The top four are all Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. Wow, what a slide! That was great to watch. It's not necessarily the quickest way around the track, but Franz Engstler proving that sideways looks good. Eliseo Donno then getting ready to get in the car, and it's being recorded on that phone, as you can see. And here is Franz Engstler then, Sector 1. Despite the sideways moment, although that may have been from a previous lap, he has improved through Sector 1 and Sector 2 and improved better than anyone, and we would expect Franz Engstler to do that. He comes here with a rich vein of success, having taken the championship, as Nico quite rightly identified, in Copenhagen last year, and then 2 wins out of 2 starts in Valencia, following his elevation to Trofeo Pirelli this year. So Franz, of course, with a rich history of racing success. The Engstler name is renowned and well known, isn't it? And the Engstler team being very well motivated by a former DTM champion, who indeed is a team boss of Engstler Motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that whole outfit, and we already said it in Valencia, by the time we will get to Le Mans, we will have 3 current or former DTM drivers in one team here in the challenge, with Manuel Reuter, who you were referring to as team boss, Luca Engstler, son of Franz, who I believe is at the Nürburgring 24 qualifiers this weekend. I certainly certainly haven't seen him in the paddock here. And then obviously Franz Engstler, who has his own history of racing, including the DTM. Luca will join the DTM this season, therefore by the time we get to Le Mans, he will have his first race under his belt as well. But for the time being, we are here in Misano, and the number 69 car is the one that's currently heading our timing screen, and that is Marco Zanazzi. 1:36.324, that's the best time we have seen in the first 9 minutes exactly now of this qualifying session.
Top 6 drivers are all Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. The Pirelli drivers, the likes of Max Buscelli and Eliseo Donno and Szymon Ladniak and Rocco Mazzola, and also Josef Kroll, who was very quick in free practice yesterday. Thomas Fleming and Bens Valent. We're looking for their times to come during the course of the 20.5 minutes that remain in this qualifying session. And we should also mention another Pirelli driver who was missing at Valencia but returns here in Misano, is former Formula 1 star Adrian Sutil, who is here this weekend. So expect good things from him. So here's James Owen then with personal bests across Sector 1, 2 and 3, and that means he goes to P3 in the chart at the moment on the left-hand side of your screen, which is occupied by the white boxes at the moment, because The only times have come from Pirelli AM drivers. Still waiting to see the Pirelli drivers, the likes of Eliseo Donno being one of them, getting ready to get out there on track. Now, Eliseo Donno, so impressive in Valencia, Nico. So impressive, you know. Very young man, extraordinarily quick, and going to take some beating here on home soil.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with Eliseo, last season was so remarkable, where you could see that when he joined the series, you could see the potential.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair, if you look at his race results, he wasn't able to mix it up with the top drivers, which last year was primarily personified by Dorian Penn. He wasn't able to be on the same pace for the majority of the first half of the season. Then as the season went on, and we also included some of the Italian tracks, all of a sudden he was there, and he was right up there and really showed his potential. And this season, you know, he's hit the ground running, and there's not been any stopping him. It's going to be interesting how he will fare when he gets on a new track, which certainly Misano isn't. But you know, every turn he has to turn the wheel, and he has to drive the car, and he's done that with aplomb, and very impressive. So very good showing from him, good showing from Hanno Laskowski in the early going of this qualifying session. Currently P2, love the metallic blue-yellow livery, works really well in my opinion. And his driving style also works pretty well.
He's really good driver, isn't he? And driving, of course, for the Emil Frey team. And the order is Marco Zanazzi and Hanno Laskowski, then P2. And as you can see, Hanno Laskowski is on something of a charge now, because through Sector 1, he delivered a time which is better than anybody else with a 25.141. Now, that is really significant, because it's like 3/10 better than the previous best Sector 1 time from anybody. So it's quite a meaningful margin. But as you can see, he's got traffic, which means he's had to run really wide there. That may have compromised his Sector 2 when he was setting himself up nicely for a really hot lap. Sure enough, Nico, Sector 2 is now coloured grey. So that will have really compromised his lap. He was on a good one, this one, or certainly the start was. And then, as is so often the case, when you get a very busy track, now, drivers will do everything they can to get out of the way, but inevitably, it breaks your focus, it breaks your concentration, Nico, and it means that, you know, what you are hoping for, you probably cannot deliver.
Well, but it was still a very good lap, reinforces the time that he put earlier. There is Lucky Kara that we get onto our timing page, as well as center stage on our screen, and he's already at the very back end of the lap, already heading for the timing line. A 1:36.324 is the target, a 1:36.916 is what he delivers, so that puts him firmly in the discussion for a reasonable starting position, currently P5, but that's only his first word, not his closing argument. So still lots of things to expect, including from our Pirelli drivers, who have been very quiet thus far, quiet to the point of not having set any combined times among them, but lots of them have fired out of pit lane. Thomas Fleming being one of them, Buns Volland another one. Rocco Mazzola, Shimon Latniak have come out of pit lane, and so has Adrian Sutil. And there we can see some of the first cars with a red sun strip on their windscreens, which is indicating them as Pirelli drivers there. Nicola Rossi also on a rich trajectory, rich vein of podium form. We've said lots and lots about him in recent events, and very deservedly so. There is Lucky Kara once again, 2 sectors done. Once again, around 1/10.5 off the pace, but very good showing from him. Just avoids the traffic here as he enters the stadium section.
Lucky, of course, 2-time UK Ferrari Challenge champion, electing to race in the European Series this year. A great guy, great driver, driving for Grey Bull Birmingham. And yeah, Lucky with a fastest sector in Sector 1, a personal best in Sector 2. His target time then a 1:36.324. I don't think he's quite going to blitz that this time around, but he'll be setting himself up for another go Lucky Kira crosses the timing line and doesn't improve in terms of his position within the chart at the moment. And here comes David Gostner, who is currently 7th fastest, but David Gostner is on something of a mission with a purple sector through Sector 1. We are beginning to get those Pirelli drivers out on track as well now, as Nico intimated, with Simon Ladniak and Ben Svalint, who are out there, but David Gostner with a personal best through Sector 2, and this really reinforces the compromise the teams have to make with regards to the setup of the cars, Nico, because Sector 1 and Sector 3, we see regular purple sectors. Sector 2, which is a bit more technical, less so.
Yeah, I mean it's a matter of setup, and David Gostner seems to have set the car up more for the technical sector, which would bode well for the stadium section. I would think so, being a very layman voice and not an expert on technical aspects. But David Gostner's time is a reinforcement of that. And
look at the excitement with the Gostner family in the MP Racing garage then, with Thomas and Manuela looking on. David has gone P1 with a 1:36.084, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. Not all that glitters is gold, but his car is, and his time was as well.
Yes, Thomas Fleming then, young whippersnapper that he is then, Sector 1 and Sector 2. Very quick, and now Sector 3. My goodness me, it's a 1:35.799. That's a quick time from young Thomas Fleming.
Yeah, absolutely. His first meaningful lap time from any of the Pirelli drivers. That means P1 in class was almost a guarantee, but P1 overall comes as a bonus. First congratulations, though, and that looks like a red flag potentially. No, he can keep it going. Lots of people will be very grateful for Marcus Amasi, not for putting it into the gravel, but for getting it out so quickly. And that means with 30 minutes remaining, the qualifying session continues. And
that was on that double apex, wasn't it? At the back end of the car, let go. And as you quite rightly said, he kept his wits about him, and rather than really beaching the car, he's very gentle on the throttle in terms of getting the car out again. And that prevented the suspension of the session, I would suggest.
Yeah, definitely. Thomas Fleming, I think that traffic that he had to overtake, which in that case is the number 10 car, steered by Kim Eriksson, exactly, that may have compromised his second sector, and indeed the time in that sector reinforces that. You can see the 69 car off Sanasi staying far off the racing line, but Thomas Fleming is already setting himself up for the next lap. 12 minutes remaining. Who is quick? We'll have a look. Ben Svalent is quick. So is Nicola Rossi. So is Eliseo Donno. Quell Surprise, Josef Kral. So expect lots of action here on our timing screen in the coming minutes. 12.5 or 13.5 to be exact. Ben Svalent, P4, turns into P2, the number 86 car. Shimon Ladniak, very good first sector. Shaking up the order here in Trofeo Pirelli, and with 11 minutes remaining, there is a special round of applause by the Gostners.
David Gostner, who, whilst you can see his P2 on the chart on the left-hand side of the screen, that actually relates to P1 within class. So David Gostner with, at the moment, a front row start, and there we can see the car there of Anna Laskowski that we were looking at. Beg your pardon, it was the car of Armin Arifport, or indeed Ben Svalent that we were looking at. Here's Thomas Fleming, who his last lap was compromised, Nico. This lap he's hoping for clear tarmac ahead of him. Having delivered a 1:35.799, he's determined to go even quicker, Nico, and really concrete his P1 performance. And he's doing that. He's taken an accumulative time very nearly half a second out of his previous best, Nico. That is one heck of an improvement. Thomas Fleming then giving it everything he can into the final section of the circuit now, this so-called stadium section. A 1:35.799 is the target for Thomas Fleming, then driving for H.R. Owen, the young British star, then heading towards the timing line now. Let's see what Thomas Fleming can deliver. 1:35.799 is the target. It's a 1:35.190, 6/10 quicker, Nico. Over half a second. But here comes Eliseo Donno.
Absolutely, and this first sector was almost identical to the one Thomas Fleming just put on. It was only 2/100ths of a second slower, so effectively nothing. We'll see how that stacks up after Sector 2. It is still very much in the same range, still within 1/10, and that means that stadium section here. And great to see that from Eliseo Donno's car. Onboard perspective, he has to fight with the car. Is no easy way around. That's quick through here, but quick it is for Eliseo Donno, I'm sure. Attacking the sausage curbs, attacking the curbs on the outside, now attacking the inside, going as close to the inside and as far to the outside as he dare without attracting the attention of the race control. 2/10 off the pace, P2, good banker, but
he's going again.
Yeah, nothing more than a good banker, because he wants to have a P1 slippery surface. At turn 9 is what's showing up on our timing screen.
Now, will that be as a result of the gravel being brought back out onto the track? Perhaps. Was that at turn 9, Nico?
Well, it is the beginning. Turn 9 is the beginning of that double apex hairpin. So maybe it's more the initiation of that slide, potentially. Maybe someone lost a little bit of liquid fluid somewhere, and Eliseo Donno is now getting towards that turn 9. Turn 9 is at the end of the short straight that he is approaching now. Nothing obvious on camera there, but
he kept that completely under control, didn't he? So whatever the warning was for, Eliseo heeded it, but didn't have to let up at all. And he is on a flyer, Nico. He is on a flyer. He's taken 3 1/3 out of Thomas Fleming's time. So Eliseo Donno is going for it. He's got clear track ahead of him. We're watching the guy really, really focus here. And there you can see a couple of cars getting out of his way because they know Eliseo Donno is on a hot lap here. Great driving from other drivers in terms of not compromising. Eliseo Donno in his Radicchi automobile car as he heads towards the timing line now. Is this going to be a new provisional pole position? 1:35, 1:90 becomes a 1:34.559 for Eliseo Donno, who banks P1. Nico, he's taken 6 1/3 out of Thomas Fleming's time. That is, wow, what a lap.
Yeah, and that is quicker than the pole time we had the last time here in the drive, which was Thomas Neubauer, 1:34.621. So he has beaten that time already, and very, very good showing. And Eliseo Donno reasserts himself as the man to beat, and the man who maybe is impossible to beat. We will find out. Thomas Fleming is going to say, well, hold on. He's only 8/100ths off the pace after the first sector, so we're very much still within striking distance. The problem is you have to find a sector where you're quicker than Eliseo Donno, and that door certainly hasn't been cracked open very far. It's not impossible, potentially, but it's going to be difficult. Second sector, as Thomas Fleming approaches the end of Sector 2, we will find out where he is. Well, he's still within 1/10, 48/1000. That's still very, very close. So the two almost identical lap times, Sector 1, Sector 2, traffic once again a topic. And in the stadium section especially, there is very little room to get out of the way. And that's exactly what happens here. That is Eliseo Donno of all people, and you know, nothing he could do about that really. And there is another car, and that may just have been too much traffic. And yes, that was too much traffic for Thomas Fleming.
You could see him lift off, couldn't you?
That was just unfortunate. Nobody's fault really, but it certainly played a role in the finishing stages of that lap. 6 minutes remaining as we have Eliseo Donno, Thomas Fleming, and Joseph Krall. And there is James Owen with a pirouette, not at high speed, but still very much facing the wrong way in that moment. Whew.
Wow, what a Joseph Krall is another very impressive showing for the Scuderia Prague team. Third fastest at the moment. The surprises, if I can say, with just 5.5 minutes remaining, Nico, are perhaps Simon Ladniak, not where I expect to see him in terms of the qualifying order, and also Franz Hensler, not where I expect to see Franz Hensler in qualifying. And I have a feeling Franz Hensler is out of the car, Nico.
Yeah, he's definitely in the pit lane, and
I saw, having seen from one of our other monitors that we have here, I'm pretty sure I saw Franz in the garage. So I'm surprised by that. With 5 minutes to run, I would have thought he would have gone out and tried to improve, but not so.
yeah, that will, for him, certainly would put an end to his perfection, because the first point for pole position he wouldn't gain. Nicola Rossi, who we are watching, he has just completed a lap, but is not where we generally see him. Is P14 overall, P7 in class, but he's going again, as we just saw Adrian Sutil put it onto row 2, P4, besting the top man in Trofeo Pirelli and David Gosner, who's relegated to P5, but still leads in class. As Nicola Rossi, he is attacking, and he would like to have that P1 in the AMS. The fact that it doesn't go to Franz Angster potentially opens that door.
Yes.
He might feel that way. First sector, not great. Second sector, we will see. 7/10 in the first sector is already a big statement, and I didn't quite see if he had traffic which contributed to that.
Possibly so. Possibly so. He has certainly got traffic, or did have traffic, in the all-black liveried 488 Challenge Evo of Lucky Kira, who, Lucky himself, doing a good job in qualifying. He's P4 at the moment in Trofeo Pirelli Am, and potentially can improve upon that. But we are beginning now to run out of time here with just under 3.5 minutes remaining. Now, Thomas Fleming has stayed out. Eliseo Donno feels he's delivered of his best.
Yeah, and probably Eliseo Donno will feel that certainly any improvement he can make is not going to be worth it in terms of tyre degradation.
Sure.
Nicola Rossi just crossed the timing line with enough time to do 2 more laps if he chooses to, so he's just in a comfortable position in that regard, but he's not in a comfortable position in terms of his current grid position, because he's way down the order from his previous showings. And you know, he always looks very calm in the car. He also looks very slow if you are trying to set a meaningful lap time, and that probably isn't a good sign that early in this lap and at this stage. As we get another replay, and that's the number 3 car of Max Mugelli, who we saw earlier. It's not a replay, actually, it's live.
It's not another driver. Max is not perhaps where we would expect him to see in the order either. So here is Max Mugelli then across the timing line, and it's P7 for Max Mugelli within class at the moment. There is Eliseo Donno looking on at the timing screen to see who else is doing what, and incidentally Thomas Fleming has now brought the car into the pit lane. So Adrian Sutil is the driver of the front runners that we follow now, and I say front runners because, as you can see from the chart on the left-hand side of the screen, he is 4th fastest. He's got a personal best through Sector 1. He's got relatively clear track ahead of him. So we'll see what Adrian Sutil can do with this lap. On the power, through the gears then, goes the Goem Baron Motorsport driver Adrian Sutil then, P4. Just behind Josef Kral by a 10th or so in terms of the order thus far, and Sector 2 was not a good sector for Adrian Sutil. Best of the Pirelli drivers is Eliseo Donno. Best of the AM drivers is David Gosner, and I don't really see much changing over the next minute and a half unless it comes from this man, Adrian Sutil, and also from, as Nico indicated, perhaps Nicola Rossi, who has stayed out there as well. But there you can see, indicating left and coming into the pit lane is Adrian Sutil. I would suggest his qualifying session is over.
Well, yes, unless he puts in a new lap record from in his out lap, which is unlikely. Then Danilo Del Favero, with a personal improvement, puts it onto P8 in class, P9, P15 overall. Nicola Rossi is staying out, which might give him a chance for one more shot at this.
Mohamed Hamdi is improving, Nico.
Yeah, and that's good. That's a good one.
Yep, personal best through Sector 1 and Sector 2. If he can nail it all in the in this stadium section of the circuit, this will be good for him. He is currently P8
However, we are being shown that he has a track limit infringement, and that
Sector
means
2.
whatever he does on this lap, it's not going to count.
Thanks for pointing that out.
I'm sorry about that, and sorry for him, obviously. Nicola Rossi with a good first sector. That gives him some hope in terms of his personal improvement. Decent second sector, so 8/10 of the overall best time. But considering that Josef Kral in P3 is 1.3 seconds off the pace, that means he is definitely on track and on course for a very good position in the Ams. And this is last chance saloon through the stadium section. Nicola Rossi throws his 488 Challenge Evo around. Let's see if the build-up of drama does something this time. Henrik Kemstrup disappointed bitterly in that roll earlier. Sorry, Henrik. Nicola Rossi, will he do something in that regard? I say yes, and indeed, P3 in class. That is P9 overall, but he bests Hanno Laskowski and pushes him one down the order. David Gostner still best in class. Marco Zanazzi P2 in the Ams, but Nicola Rossi, who has been P3 pretty consistently in Pirelli Am, takes exactly that position, and he makes his last attempt count. Across the line, checkered flag, P3, thank you. Exit stage left.
Job done. And there is Eliseo Donno then, who is collecting his pole position award. They're lovely awards. Love them this year. Whoever designed those, well done. They're great. And Eliseo Donno then taking P1 with a 134.559. In fact, Nico, the only driver to have put it in the 134s across our qualifying sessions, and I think you said is quicker than even the quickest time that we've had here at Misano before.
Yeah, definitely better than the last time we were here at the end of the 2020 season. And well done. And yeah, you know, he had a similar margin in Valencia in one of the qualifying sessions, so he's really proving his ability to make the most of it.
Big up to David Gostner, who of course will also have received the Rotiform Pole Position Award for his class P1, which was very, very good. And so David Gostner then P1 in class, P5 overall. And I mean, you know, that was, you know, he was mixing it with the Pirelli drivers properly, wasn't he? You know, so well done to David Gostner. A very, very good qualifying indeed. So good qualifying session from our Trofeo Pirelli cars. In fact, now all our qualifying is done and all the talking will come here on the Riviera de Rimini. Of course, during the course of the races, we have both Copichelle and Trofeo Pirelli races to come this afternoon. And good afternoon to you. There we can see the sun is shining. Is it good afternoon yet? No.
10:37 local time. Well, Dave got up very early this morning and
you're right.
Did already 2 track walks and went up to San Marino with a cable car. He did not.
It was not as early as yesterday morning.
Well, that's fair. Well, it was a very interesting qualifying session. Actually, 3 of them already.
Yeah.
So that probably lends itself to thinking it's later in the day than it is. This is the result from Trofeo Pirelli qualifying 1.
Eliseo Donno taking pole position, Thomas Fleming P2, Josef Kral P3, Adrian Sutil P4. Best of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, David Gostner P5. Benz Valent and Max Mugelli P6, P7. Marco Zanazzi and Nicola Rossi and Hanno Laskowski then P8, 9 and 10, but P2, 3 and 4 respectively within class. That completes our first page of the qualifying result from Misano for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers. Here comes page 2. With James Owen, Lucky Kira, Franz Engstler, Nico, he's got some overtaking to do. Oh. So too has Simon Ladniak, Mohamed Hamdi, Gianmarco Mazzoletti, Danilo Del Favaro, Kim Eriksson, and then we saw Rocco Mazzola and Armin Arifpour. So, David Gostner, the driver for CDP MP Racing for Trofeo Pirelli AM, pole position. Congratulations to David Gostner. And then throwing it through the curves and achieving P1 for Trofeo Pirelli, Eliseo Donno. Pole position. So there we have it then, our qualifying done and dusted. Please make sure you join us for the races to come this afternoon. What will this young man do? You wouldn't bet against a win, would you? From Nico, from myself, and from the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, thank you so much for watching qualifying. Bye-bye for now.